In an interview with CBS, Gary Shapley, a supervisory special agent who's worked for the IRS for 14 years, claimed that the IRS's regular procedures were circumvented to benefit the president's son.
When I took control of this particular investigation, I immediately saw it, was way outside the norm of what I've experienced in the past. There was multiple steps that were slow walked at the direction of the Department of Justice.
Had you ever encountered that before?
I have not, no. These deviations from normal process, and each and every time it seemed to always benefit the subject.
The subject Shapley is referring to, the subject he's referring to is Hunter Biden, who we can't legally identify, but it's been reported multiple outlets. This is a big charge, right? Shapley's claiming the DOJ intervened in his team's probe to Hunter Biden's benefit. What's more, he's claiming that his entire 12-person staff was removed from the investigation as a result of his coming forward. In a letter to Congress last week, Shapley's attorneys wrote that Shapley, quote, was informed that he and his entire investigative team are being removed from the ongoing and sensitive investigation of the high-profile, controversial subject about which our client sought to make whistleblower disclosures to Congress. He was informed the change was at the request of the Department of Justice. And this is the part where my radar went up a bit. This is one of the most highly scrutinized investigations from the DOJ. Many on the right, in politics and media, watching every move that the DOJ makes here. The idea that an entire 12-person investigative team would just get removed for speaking up about concerns seems suspicious. Now, whether it was fair or not, they had to have done something to get removed from the case. And who knows whether it was an entire team or members, but regardless, I've got to believe it's connected to leaks. Remember the Washington Post reported in October that, quote, federal agents investigating President Biden's son Hunter have gathered what they believe is sufficient evidence to charge him with tax crimes and a false statement related to a gun purchase, according to people familiar with the case? Well, clearly that came from agents involved in the case. And I don't know exactly what the evidence is. Maybe they do have enough. But I do know that any investigators that leak that kind of information in a sensitive case like this are A, trying to pressure the DA into indicting, and B, would be in huge trouble for leaking that in any investigation. The police or agents come forward with their assessment of a case to the media before a DA makes a charging decision. It's always a no-no. And it's justifiable for the IRS or the DOJ to want to plug those leaks. In a letter to Congress, IRS Commissioner Daniel Werfel said, quote, I want to state unequivocally that I have not intervened. I will not intervene in any way that would impact the status of any whistleblower. And here's what's maybe most important to remember. The charging decision here will be made by a Trump-appointed federal prosecutor named David Weiss. He's the one calling the shots here. Now, if Weiss claims the Department of Justice is interfering with his work, or, in particular, rejects his recommendation for an indictment, that would be a whole different ballgame. That is something I would take very, very seriously. But Weiss has made no such claim, and Attorney General Garland has repeatedly pledged that the DOJ will not interfere with Weiss.
I promised to leave the matter of Hunter Biden in the hands of the U.S. Attorney for the District of Delaware, who was appointed in the previous administration. I have pledged not to interfere with that investigation, and I have carried through on my pledge.
So until and unless the Trump-appointed attorney in charge says Merrick Garland is going back on his word and the DOJ is getting in the way, I'm skeptical that there isn't more to this story than this IRS whistleblower is claiming. But joining us now is the perfect guest on this, Martin Sheil, a former supervisory special agent for the IRS. He worked there for more than 30 years. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. So you sort of had the same job as the whistleblower. You supervised IRS investigations. What do you make of his claims and the reasoning?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Dan. I appreciate the opportunity to talk. I have nothing but respect for Gary and the service he has provided to law enforcement. His experience to date is laudable. And I don't know what the facts are that led to his blowing a whistle here, and no one does. And you know, I'm going to think best of Gary until we have more and better reporting. Let's face it, every federal agent, almost every day, they come home after putting in a hard day's work and they see their agency or themselves being used as punching bags. So
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.